I know it's been a while since I said anything online. I laid my mom to rest, and then I needed to just respect that process of grief. But I'm breaking my silence because a couple things have happened that I really feel compelled to address. And it's one of those situations where, um, as a teacher, as an educator, I think I would be good to pass this on. First thing that happened a few days ago, I was driving home from the Haven, um, and I'm coming across this group of kids, right? There were boys and girls. It was a group of boys, around 6 or 7, right? And the boys are walking backwards through the intersection towards the walking bridge over the highway. And then the group of girls was coming towards them walking forwards. But they were all walking very slowly. And I just thought that was bizarre for a second. And then the next second I realized there's a fight. There's an altercation. There's something going on where everybody is uneasy. And I'm literally looking at a group of zombies. There was no absence of love, joy, peace, kindness. None of the things that make life everything that we love it to be was not present. And they were just, one individual was doing all the talking, and he was loud, and he was boisterous, and he was threatening, and all the things that you can be when you're in whatever state of mind he was in. I had my windows up, so I couldn't hear a word he was saying. I could just hear the sound, but not the actual words. And he was such a handsome boy. I wouldn't give any of them more than 15 years of age in that entire group. My instincts instantly made me want to stop and break it up. I mean, if it wasn't for me remembering my husband asked me a few months ago to stop breaking up fights in the middle school where I was teaching, I thought about that. And so I slowed down, but I didn't get out the car. Despite my instincts, I remembered what the Word of God said about just honoring each other in our marriage. And I said, let me just honor what my husband said and not break up any more fights. So I came to a stop, and the young man, he looked into my car at me, but he wouldn't look at me. But I looked directly at him, and I smiled the whole time. He's glancing over at me, and he's still mouthing off whatever he was saying, and I just smiled at him. And in that moment, I saw him raise his hand slightly. And in his hand, I saw a small gun. I'd never seen a child with a gun before, so it was stunning. I was stunned. He wasn't aiming it at me or anyone else. He just had it, and he wanted it to be seen. And then he slowly he pulled his pants down in the front a little bit. He had on these purplish gray colored underwear, kind of like the baby he was, and he just put the gun right in the front of his pants. And I'm praying through my shocked state of mind, and I realized, wow, I need to leave this place because my instincts almost got me in a bad situation. But did it? Took me a couple days to get over that and to continue to pray, and I still pray for those children. But how? How shocked should I be when this is what we teach our children? They don't make the media presentations. They don't make the movies. They don't make the clothes. They don't make the music. The children are not doing this. This is what adults are doing to them. So me leaving is not going to help them. So here I stay. Fast forward week or so, two maybe later, and I'm leaving the store, having a fantastic evening with my husband, and we're just chilling, having fun, just loving life. And I look over, and my husband says something, but I don't know what it is he just said, because I heard and saw something that was just unreal. I saw a bright blue, beautiful motorcycle skidding across the street, or down the street, literally. In the next moment, I saw a man twirling on the ground, and he stopped spinning, and he landed half on his side, half on his face. And the sound of his breath left his body with such a dynamic exhale. Before I knew it, my husband had the car in park, and he was out. He had bounded out of the car. I turned the key and pressed the hazard, and I was right behind him. And I had on the prettiest dress, the most beautiful head turner. But I did not care. I hiked that thing up, and I couldn't get my knees high enough to get there fast enough. Yelling the whole time for my husband not to touch him. Don't touch him, don't touch him. And I get there, and I kneel down next to him, and all of a sudden, I'm looking at this man created in the image of God. And all I knew is that he needed to be touched, to be loved, to be connected to life again. Where was his mother? Where was his wife? Who is this, right? Put my arms around him, my left arm around, and I could feel his chest pounding, but he wasn't breathing. I've never touched a motorcycle helmet. I couldn't tell you how to take it off, how to unclasp it. I couldn't tell. And the way it had him pushed up under his chin, and kind of between his chin and his mouth, it was just, the face plate was gone. That had been knocked off. And the driver that cut him off was going into her own level of hysteria. And I remembered who I was. There were all the people yelling, don't touch him. And all the other ones who are, saying whatever they were saying and asking questions. I told them I'm certified CPR, first aid, AED, all of that. But none of my training was what was needed at that second. I couldn't get his helmet off to do CPR. Didn't have an AED to perform that, anything. And the way he was twisted, and as big as he was, turning him over, the way his head was positioned would not have been wise. But I remember who I was. And I lowered my hand over him without touching him. And I asked God, the one who made him, to heal him. And then I spoke mysteries unto God that I don't even understand, as the Lord himself directed me. And the man suddenly inhaled this huge gasp. And then he started to make this sound, like you would hear a little child who was exasperated with being sick just moan and cry at the same time. It's a sound you can't separate. He wasn't crying, he wasn't moaning, he was both. And he was a child, all over again in it. I came away from that because before you know it, there was a nurse there and there was a doctor there, and before you know it, the three of us had somehow got him over, and we heard the sirens coming, and my husband and I, we quickly got out of the way and we went on our way and everything. And I don't know who that man was, but God knows who he is. Why am I sharing this? Because I came away from this situation, and all I can think of is, what kind of value do we bring to a situation? Aside from, wanting to post how good we look and how far we've come and how successful we are and all of this, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, are you spending time learning how to bring value, learning how to do something that's going to help somebody, really help somebody? There was no doctor there at first. There was no nurse. There was no fire, EMT, ambulance. They were not there. Just a daughter of God who remembered who he is. And I asked him. And then he returned to that man the breath of life he gave him. And that is the most important thing. So in all you're getting, all your knowledge and wisdom and obtaining all of your accomplishments and everything else you're going for, what kind of value are you bringing? That's all I'm going to say about all that. But the other thing I want to tell you is thank you to everyone who's walked with me during this time of processing the loss of my mother and her relocating to heaven. Thank you for everything that you all said and did and gave and what you didn't say. Thank you for being present and not just there. I'm going to resume and continue to breathe and bring value. My mom told me 20 years ago I should start my own program and have my own place and do my own thing with the talent that God gave me. And I'm sitting in this building now. But it's not a building where I live. I don't live here. I work here. I minister here. I teach here. I bring value. And that is the only lesson I think I want to teach today. If you're going to do anything, do it because you're shining a light in a dark place. That's it. I hear contractor outside doing something. Anyway, I gotta go. Thanks for listening, and thanks for being there.